is He.
Greater is He who's in me than who's in the world. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, the Lord is with me. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, the Lord is with me. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh,
I've got a God who loves me. He said you'll never leave me. Though I walk through the valley,
I'm not afraid.
You walk with me and be my guide. Oh, no matter what the enemy will do,
I know that, yeah.
no matter what the enemy will say,
I know that, yeah.
I'm just a window, I'm just a blow, not by my mind, oh, but by the grace of God.
What the enemy can do.
The Lord is with me,
God is with me. He's always by my side. Oh,
greater is He.
greater is He who's in me than who's in the world. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid.
The
Oh,
Lord is with me, Lord is with me. Oh,
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, the Lord is with me. Oh, I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of what the enemy can do. Hey, the Lord is with me.
He's always by my side. Oh,
Greater is He.
greater is He who's in me than who's in the world. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid.
The Lord is with me.
Lord is with me.
Hey, hey,
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid. Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, the Lord is with me. Oh, I'm not afraid.
Woo! Come on, put those hands together. Hey! 1, 2, 3, go! Hey! Louder. Hey!
Good evening, lovely people. It's such an amazing to come your way once again, and I'm so delighted. For the month of September, and I just want to wish each and everyone out there happy month. Even though today is, 13th, but today actually marks my first episode in this month. So I just want to wish everybody well. And today, I am so humbled, to have this amazing, brave woman to share her story. I don't know whether I should say I'm angry, sad, upset. I am full of mixed emotions, but I am just going to try and, compose myself. But we all know how domestic abuse is taking lives. And we've been shouting, but I don't think our voices are being heard enough, especially when it comes to the number of lives that it has actually taken. Last year alone in Ghana, where I come from, more than 15 women, that is the one that I can actually count on my fingers, were brutally killed. I tried to actually go online to find the statistics, about Kenya, and to my surprise, I couldn't find any. If there is somewhere that maybe I couldn't chance on, I stand to be corrected, and I think I would love to have it, but no. So it's still ongoing, and I would just plead with, families to be sympathetic, to daughters, to sons, when they come home reporting, of domestic abuse. Let us embrace them. Let us support them. Let us listen to their stories. And together we can actually save lives. Tonight, I have with me Pastor Jane Nganga, all the way from Kenya. And before I actually bring her live on, he's a mother of two. And currently, he's been in the UK for a month. And also, she's the founder of Beauty from Ashes International Women's Ministry, and also the director of Leaders Development Agency, and also serves at Seaton Church, Kenya. That is Christ is the Answer Ministry. Yes, in Kenya. So I don't want to say too much about my guest, but so far, all that I would just want to say is she spent over $60,000 to have her face, repaired. If that's the right word to use. So I'll urge each and everyone online, please bring the young ones, bring our mothers, our aunties, our uncles, share this link, and let this interview go far. Tonight we are talking about the effects of living with an abusive husband. I've just also been noted that it's not just the women that are being abused. Unfortunately, we have men who are also being abused, but unfortunately, they keep quiet about it. So tonight, we are going to have a balanced discussion. But we just wait for Pastor Jane Nganga to share her story. So, Pastor Jane, welcome to the Inside View.
Thank you. Thank you, my sister Nana. God
Love
bless
you.
you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
I truly appreciate it. I'm very
Thank you.
humbled.
Good to see
Yeah.
you. I mean, from the images that we saw, or that I have
Totally
seen,
different. Yeah,
and
you can
today,
tell.
this can only be God.
It can
This
only be
can
God.
only
Yeah.
be God.
Very true.
And we thank God for your life, and also for being so bold and brave to speak up, to save lives, to make sure much is done about this domestic abuse.
Yeah.
So, before, we listen to your story, we just want to know who Jane Nganga is, and just a little bit about yourself, and also, where you grew up from, something about yourself. Something about yourself. About
Okay.
Jane Nganga, please.
Thank you. Thank you, my sister. Yes, as I said, Jane Nganga. Jane Nganga is a minister of the gospel. I've been ministering for the last 24 years old, 24 years.
Wow.
I started serving my first church. I was 20 years old when I started my first church. So I've served for quite long. And I was born in a place called Nanyuki. Nanyuki is one of the counties in Kenya. That was back in 1979, September. Actually, next week on Tuesday is my birthday, my 44th birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday in advance.
Yeah, happy birthday received. Now, I'm a mother of two. I have two amazing young adults. First is 24 years old, going to 25, and then I have a daughter who is 19. I serve in CITAM Crisis the Answer Ministry. We have several churches in several countries. And then I have another ministry that I do on the side that is Beauty from Ashes, International Women Ministry. This was birthed after the first time I shared my story. So many women came to me, and I realized that a lot is happening in the world today. So that's how Beauty from Ashes ministry was birthed. And then I have another ministry that we do. I have a partner called Nganga. We do Leaders Development Agency.
Mhm.
So we raise and we ensure that we have growth in our companies, in our churches, and also in organizations. We work with several companies. It's purely for leaders, because we came to realize that leaders are also human beings, and sometimes they are judged wrongly. So we develop leaders. That's the main reason we have a leaders ministry. Yeah, so I live in Kenya. That's where I was born and raised, but I have traveled to so many countries because there's another organization that I work with. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I work with Global Apostolic Leaders Network. It's a network of pastors, bishops, apostles. We network, we bring them together. So I travel, in 1 year, I can travel like 15 or 20 countries. And that's why I'm here in UK. We are establishing an office here for Global Apostolic Leaders Network. And so I'm happy and privileged to be here. I thank God for this golden opportunity to share my story, because I know someone out there just waiting to hear my testimony today, and she or he will be totally delivered.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. I mean, for me, it's an honor and also a privilege to have you on my platform. I mean, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, for your bravery and also for your the courage to make sure women and even some men, I mean, who are being abused, you know, to speak up. You know, to viewers out there, we are talking about domestic abuse, and just for people to be aware, you know, the forms of abuse that we are talking about. I just want to just you know, define what domestic abuse is, just for people to be aware of what this is all about. Domestic abuse, often known as domestic violence or intimate violence, is a pattern of behavior intended to establish or retain power and control over an intimate partner in any relationship. Abuse is also defined as physical, sexual, emotional, financial, or psychological acts or threats against another individual. Any behavior that frightens, intimidates, terrorizes, manipulates, hurts, humiliates, blames, injures, or wounds someone falls under this category. So now it's out there. I mean, I've been able to explain what domestic abuse is all about. So if you find yourself, you know, under this, you know, like what I've actually, you know, talked about, don't keep quiet. Seek help. Seek help. You know, you may mention that you've been a pastor, you know, from the age of 20, you know, till now. So tonight's discussion will be a bit sensitive because you're coming from the church. You're a church woman. So, you know, tonight, my dear pastors, my dear, you know, first ladies, we are going to have, you know, this one-to-one talk. Today we are touching the church, and so let us all be, you know, brutally honest about what's going on in it, because here we are. This is a pastor, a church, you know, a church girl coming to share her story. So please, let us all be quiet and also share this link, and let us all you know, be empowered tonight. So Pastor Jane, being a pastor, being a church girl, for that matter, we just want to know, how did this whole thing, how did it start? You know, before, you know, you answer this question, I think I would just like my technical team to show some of the images, just for people to be aware of what, you know, we are talking about, and also the gravity of the abuse or the injuries that you sustained. Yeah. And also, if the video can be played, and just I'll be so happy.
Stay with God. Inspire.
see or feel.
Stay with God.
In spite of how things may appear,
Stay with God.
it doesn't matter what may come our way. There is only one place we are safe. Stay with God.
Thank you so much. When did this all? How did it? Tonight when I got these images, I honestly, prayed to God to give me the courage to interview you, because I was full of rage, full of anger. I was full of, I don't know, how to describe how I felt. So for me, with I'm a bit emotional, but I'll try and how, if you can just tell us a little bit, how did this all start? How did it start? Just
Thank you,
about
sister.
just share, yeah,
Thank you, man of God. I can see how you are struggling to
yeah,
understand the whole thing.
yeah.
It's not easy. Let me start from where it began. I said I was born in Kenya, a place called Nanyuki, but 2 years after I was born, my dad and mom separated. And we were raised by our grandmother, so I didn't know who my dad or my mom was. And my grandmother was mentally retarded. So I grew up in a very harsh environment because she hated us so much. She used to beat us like every day, and a lot was happening. I didn't know there's God. I didn't know what it means to have to be loved. I lived in a rejection environment. So as we share, I'll tell how you get to this level. It all starts from your childhood. If you dig back to your foundations, you will find that something triggered what I went through in my marriage. So after that, I think throughout my childhood, I was yearning for love. I was searching for that genuine love because I didn't know what it means to be loved. So at the age of 19, I got married. And 19, I was still very young. I was still very naive. I was still like, I didn't understand what it means to get a partner or to find a good partner. One, because I was not raised in a family setup. Number two, I had no advice from anyone about marriage or anything. So I found myself in a relationship with this guy. He was a bit mature than myself because the age gap was a bit huge. And I think that's one thing that he took advantage for, because throughout his years, he saw me like a child. And then learning about my background, I think also that contributed a lot. But then this guy, I found him in church while I was fellowshipping. I was
You found him in
young.
church.
Yes, I found him in church. What I can say is that there are people who are in church but are not yet delivered. It all depends on what you believe in. So this guy and we connected and we started. Okay, this guy, what I came to learn after I shared my story for the first time, I found that I was married to a narcissistic person. He was a narcissist. So at first, and what made me love him and even getting married to him is that at first he was so loving. This guy was love that I never experienced before. And that's what narcissistic disorder personality do. They love bomb you until you don't remember anything else. And then they make you believe that no one else can love you. So that's what he used to tell me, that if you leave this marriage, you know, your family background and all that, you can never find any love. That's what he used to tell me. And so that's where we started, and we had this family. I was still young. I had my first child when I was 19. When I was 19, and then my second child I was 23. So it wasn't easy because now I'm in a family setup. It's not a good, I'm not in a good marriage. This guy used to beat me like every day, every day. He could look just like me and say, today you're very moody. Today I see it's like you don't love me. And that was enough for the beat up. He could wake up in the morning and it's like, I think there are people who are following, like, because I had a church. I started a church, as I said, I started when I was very young. And he used to tell me, you know, Sunday, I saw a guy, the way he was looking at you. And when I tried to say, I think you're not right, that's not, and that was enough for the beating. So, and I got used to it because this guy, narcissistic people, they make you, after what they do to you, they tell you, they make you believe that you're on the wrong. They make you doubt about yourself. They make you doubt about your sanity. So I was like, okay, maybe he was looking at me. Maybe, I don't know. But that was not the reason for you to beat me up. So, but I couldn't question him. Narcissists, you can't question them. They are always right. So, and now I have my kids here. I can't leave the marriage because he used to tell me, if you leave this marriage, go alone and leave my kids behind. So I couldn't leave because of my children. And so one time, I remember one night we had gone somewhere. We had lost one of our friends and we went to mourn with them. And it was late at night. And then our car broke down on our way back home. And it wasn't a good place because in Kenya, and I know some in Africa countries, you know, there are places that are not so good, secure. So I told him, the car broke down, and I told him, you know what, we can't risk our lives because this place is not safe. And there was a petrol station just nearby. So I told him, let's look for people who can help us leave this car at the petrol station, and then we go home. That time, my daughter was around 11 months. So she was still breastfeeding. So I told him, you know what? And again, we left the child at home. I'm sure maybe she's crying or something, so we can't stay here. It was around 2 a.m. in the morning. And he told me, we were with another friend. So that friend said, Jane is right. We should go home because this place is not safe. So because of that statement, when we got home, he was so furious. He was breathing fire. And I knew this is one of the days that this guy is going to beat me. So when we got to the house, I went straight to the kitchen. I was trying to at least distract him and to at least he cools down. And I remember when he came, when he went to the sitting room, he came back with a remote and he threw the remote. Luckily, it didn't hit me. But he held my head and slammed my head against the wall.
Whoa.
I got unconscious. I fell down, got unconscious, and I started bleeding. I bleeded from the mouth, my nose, and all that. So I had other foster kids that I was staying with. They came and asked him, oh, please, daddy, please don't stop beating mommy. Forgive her, whatever she did. And he used to tell my kids, and these are the foster kids I used to live with, that this woman is a witch. You know, that's another thing with narcissists. They tend, outside there, they are so good. To other people, they are so good. But when they come home, they change to an animal. So that's what even my kids, some of my kids believed that for sure, maybe, because he used to tell them, you see, the reason why I beat this woman is because she's bad. This woman is a witch. One day she will kill all of you. And because they were young, some could tend to believe what he was saying. So that night he left me there. I was bleeding on the floor. So these kids, they came and dragged me to the bathroom because they thought he will come back and start beating me again. So they put me in the bathroom and I was still bleeding. The floor was full of blood. And so my son was around 5 years. So when everyone went back to sleep, because he commanded them to go and sleep, but my son sneaked and came and stood at the door, at the bathroom door. And so he was there waiting to see. He thought, and actually he was sure mom is dead because I was unconscious. And he thought, now who will come and because I know my mom is already dead, who will bring out the body from this bathroom? Because he can't, he was very young. And so he stood just there, right at the door. He was crying. After around, I think, 30 minutes or 1 hour, I gained my conscience back. And I woke up. I couldn't even walk because my head was heavy. I was going through a lot was going through my mind. I was like, this guy, one day he will kill me, but how can I live? How can I leave my kids behind? Because he had instilled so much fear in me that I couldn't even dare. And to be honest with you, Anna, I never left that house. So when I woke up, I dragged myself only to find my son there crying. I held him, I hugged him, and I told him, you know what, son, I can't die. But that was a trigger. I was like, I think this guy, one day he will kill me. So I took him back to the bedroom and I went to my bedroom. Remember, I haven't even assisted my daughter, but she was deep asleep. So I went there. The guy is already asleep. He's snoring. I felt so bad. I was like, the love I was looking for, I think it left a long time ago. So I slept. I couldn't sleep because I was in a lot of pain. So I called a friend the following day. She took me to the hospital. They did a scan and they said I'll be okay. So 3 years down the line, I started twitching. My mouth started going on the side. And they were treating me for Bell's palsy. Then later, around 10 years ago, I realized it wasn't Bell's palsy. And I had traveled all over Kenya trying to look for a solution, but I couldn't get. So I landed on one of the nerves specialists, and she told me, you know what, your case is different. You have nerve compression. 3 of my nerves in the brain were compressed.
Wow.
That's why my mouth moved to the side. And she told me, you know what, you can't get this surgery here. Because one, it is a very complicated surgery. Number two, it's risky. And number three, it is very expensive. And we can't find any doctor who can do that here. So you have to sort help from outside. I had to go to India. That's where I got my surgery done. It was very expensive because I spent $60,000.
Okay, so up to this time, I
Yeah.
just want to ask,
Mhm.
a few questions because I've got a few questions that people have actually sent.
Mhm.
Please, to those of you online, if you want to
Mhm.
send your questions across, yes, please send it, and I know Pastor Jane will help you with the kind of
Yeah.
answers that maybe you might be looking for.
Mhm.
I think what you sent me, you said he slammed my head against the wall one day, as he was used to do. My
Mhm.
nerves in the head got damaged and
Mhm.
resulted in nerve compression. I had to go through head surgery, which cost 60,000 US dollars.
Mhm.
The surgery was successful, as you can see in the first photo. I'm okay now, but I do a lot of encouragement and caution to women who are going through the same.
Mhm.
I just want to ask, since that wasn't the first time
Mhm.
he slammed your head,
Yes.
against a wall,
Mhm.
when the first incident happened,
The
how
first
did you
time.
feel? I mean,
Mhm.
I know, like you already said that he was, like a narcissist, and he's so, like actually putting a lot of fear in you, and also turn your own children against you. But how did you, when the first incident actually happened? What was your reaction? What was, what kind of emotions actually, went through your mind. I mean, for the first time, when that happened, how did you feel?
That happened 2 months after I got married.
Okay.
I remember I had a foster child. Actually, even when I got married, I had a foster child,
Mhm.
and this boy was epileptic. Okay, I have this passion for kids also. I help kids a lot, especially those who
Okay.
are less fortunate. And that boy was epileptic. So they're kind of abnormal. So sometimes their behaviors are not pleasing. So this boy did something that got him angry, and he beat him up. So when I responded, I told him, well, you know what, we need to understand this boy because you see his condition and all that. That time, that the day he started beating me. And then after what he did, he apologized.
Mhm.
He told me, I don't know what has happened. Please forgive me. I will never repeat that again. I love you so much. That's what they do.
He
That's what
was
they do. And then, yeah. And then he told me, you should not, when I'm disciplining this child, you should not tell me. So they instill fear, and then they make you doubt yourself. It's like, okay, then I was wrong. Then maybe I deserved this beating. But I prayed to God. I remember praying to God, and I said, oh my goodness, what I was running away from because of the experience I went
yeah.
through with my grandmother. I told God, please, I hope this guy is not this type of a person. But he convinced me that he's a good person. And what I will say is that these guys, they know people to control.
Okay. So okay, I'm beginning to understand, your
Yeah.
story. But
Mm.
there's also reports that women tend to underreport,
Yes.
being abused. So in
Mhm.
your case, didn't you have, like, did you have any uncles or aunties? Because like you said, your own grandmother used to beat
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
as well,
Mm.
having lost both parents.
Mhm.
So did you have any aunties or uncles, or even in a church? Did you have any elders or deacons or pastors, that you actually reported this incidents to? And if so, what happened?
Now the problem is, for one, I was a public figure,
Okay.
and I didn't want. One thing happens with the people who deals with narcissists, especially if you don't recognize the spirit that they operate under. They instill fear, and I will still repeat that. So one, I was a pastor, I was ministering, I had a church. So I was like, what if I share this story? What will people think?
Mm.
And then I'm a role model to so many people, to so many families. So I used to mask a lot. That's what I can say. I used to mask a lot. And I didn't want anyone to know what is happening with me. And then the other thing, he used to threaten me a lot. He tells me, you should not share this. A godly woman should be persevere. You should not tell people, because I remember there's one time I told him, we need to sit down with your mom and my mother, because I think we are not heading in the right direction. And he said, no, 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 we can't. This is our family affairs. You don't know what happens to these other homes that you see. You don't know what happens with your friends. And so he made me believe that that's how a marriage should be, because I never had one. I never experienced a family setup before. So I thought, okay, so this is how it happens. So I was masking, I was smiling, but it wasn't a good smile. I was faking it. And I didn't have anyone, I didn't have a confidence that I can share with. I never trusted anyone with my story. And that's where we go wrong. That's where we go wrong. And that's why I caution women not to do that. At least you should have someone, even if it is not a relative, at least someone, a friend, someone who can pray with you, someone who can encourage you. Because I tend to believe, if I shared my story from the word go, and if I was strong enough to say no and to detect that spirit, maybe I could not have gone all what I went through. Maybe I could not have taken my children through what they went through, because they all went through depression. I thank God they are now totally delivered, but it wasn't easy.
Great. I mean, now
Yeah.
that you have beauty,
Mhm.
for ashes,
Yeah.
foundation. So I
Mhm.
have a feeling you help educate and also enlighten women,
Yes.
like on this topic. But
Mhm.
tonight, we
Mhm.
just want to ask you questions because, I mean, now you said you masked the
Yes.
whole incident. So,
Mhm.
like when you went out there, everybody thought, oh, Pastor Jane is happy. Pastor Jane
Mhm.
is a strong woman, an anointed woman. And
Mhm.
so it's like everybody saw you as the beautiful Jane out there, but
Yeah.
inward or
Mhm.
inside your house, it
Mhm.
was hell for you.
Mhm.
So we just want to know
Mhm.
what are the signs, in the church.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that we can, or the signs
Mhm.
that we should actually look out for,
Mhm.
to to see, battered women, women who are going through. What are some of the signs that
Mhm.
we can actually look out for,
Mhm.
like in order to help such women? What are some of the
Yes.
things? Yeah.
Yes. One thing when you want to, for women or men, those who are going through torture or maybe abuse in their families, one thing you realize with them, they are they have very low self-esteem. They have no confidence about themselves.
Hmm.
Number two, you will tell that they are in depression. If you're keen enough, you can tell someone who is going through depression. And again, the other thing is that they live a very confused life. They don't know how to make decisions.
Wow.
And the other thing because now I'm talking out of my own experience. You will tell a lot of anxiety, even when you're talking to them, you can tell they don't trust people so easily. And that's why narcissist takes advantage of them, because they know very well that this person is not going to share. The other thing is that you'll notice they withdraw a lot. They have withdrawal symptoms. You can tell this person is isolating himself or herself, and they are ever unhappy. They are never happy at all. Nothing excites them. Like those days, I remember I was like, I questioned my purpose so many times. Yes, I was preaching. Yes, I was a public figure. I was doing all that. But when I'm now alone, I was like, what is my purpose on this earth? Was I created to serve this much? So that makes you to isolate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so the risk of being in an abusive for a very long time, because we are human beings. So most of the time, they tend to create their own world. They try to seek for coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, you find that they engage in very unhealthy behaviors. That's why you'll find pastors drinking, pastors backsliding, pastors doing, not even only pastors, but you find a person who was so nice, responsible, and then they all of a sudden they become careless because they lose hope with life. They don't believe in themselves anymore. And you find, like mostly in women, the women that I've come across and I'm trying to help, some of them, they even engage in gazing because they don't trust men anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Those behaviors do more harm than good, because you'll find that some even divorce and immediately they get married, and they marry now a totally different character. Why? Because they are trying to create a world where they can fit in. They are trying to create, at least to cope, because they're human being. Everyone, we are social animals, and when you isolate yourself for so long, then you start looking for where you can fit in. So that's the reason. So, and that's why this is me. I'm not quick to judge. When people do some things, I'm not quick to judge. I try to understand. I try to understand where you're coming from, what was the cause, and why are you doing this. Yes, that's what I do.
So was there any time that you felt, the courage to man up to him, that, today I'm also going to, face you? Was there any day that you felt that strength to sort
Uh,
of, just facing, I'm just looking for the right word to use, to man him up. That today, do you know what, I'm gonna also, give it to you as it is. Was there any day that you had that strength? And if so, how, like, were you able to do it? I mean,
mm,
and also, the outcome.
mhm.
Yeah.
Strength to face him.
Yes. I mean,
Yes, I
anything.
remember one time. One time I told him, I felt that, and I gathered the courage and I said, today I'm going to talk to him. It doesn't matter whatever will happen, but today I have to tell him the truth. So I remember I decided to buy him dinner. I told him tonight I want us to go somewhere, hang out, and do something. Because the other thing, I was the family provider. He wasn't working.
Oh,
So
even worse.
so yeah, he wasn't working
Wow.
because 2006 he got sick. Uh, he developed diabetes and the complications. So
Yeah.
he just sat down and he wasn't working at all. So I was providing everything, paying school fees, paying all the bills and all that. So that night, I remember I told him, today we are going out for dinner. So we went out and I told him, you know what? I used to call him daddy and he's calling me mama. I mean, madam. I think the reason why I was calling him dad is because I was seeking for that. A lot happens. If you see a story, if you dig back, you will find that there's a chain somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I told him that, you know what, I've realized and I've prayed through and I'm assured that this marriage was not meant to be. And this is what I want to do. Please, I want you to allow me to go with my kids, and I will give you permission to come and see them anytime you want, and I will support you whenever I can. And but please allow us to divorce, because I see either you or myself, one of us is going to die.
Hmm.
I was not telling him one of us that because I'm going to kill him, but I knew God will punish him.
Wow.
So he was quiet throughout. I was talking for the first time. He was quiet. He wasn't saying anything. And then he said, okay, let's go back home. After dinner, we went back home. On the way, he was not talking to me. He was driving crazy, like crazy. When we got home, he parked the car and we went in the house. And let me tell you, um, I was really beaten.
Wow. So you were the breadwinner and
Yeah,
also being abused at the
yes.
same time. So double trouble. I mean, this.
Let me tell you something, Nana. Those guys, the narcissistic personality disorder, they have a very strong demonic spirit. I don't know what happens. It's not easy at all to live that. And that's why I told God, give me the grace, because I need to talk to women, because what I went through, I wasn't telling anyone. A lot was happening. They have a spirit that I can't even explain how it is, because I was trying. And during the day, I'm thinking, now I have to take action, I have to do something. But when I get back home, this guy is so good. That day, especially that day that I was thinking that now I need to leave or anything, now that day he's the best.
Wow. You
And
know,
so, yeah.
great. On that, based on just what you said, I've got
Mhm,
a lady that has actually sent a question, online. Naya.
mhm,
Naya wants to find out. I want to
mhm,
ask Pastor Jane
mhm.
how she managed to stand in front of the congregation and preach about marriage, knowing very well she herself is going through abuse at home. Please, someone wants to know.
As I said earlier, these guys, what they do, they instill a lot of fear in you.
Mhm.
So even when you're sharing with people, you are telling them how they should live, how they should handle one another. But inside me, I was a walking shell.
Whoa.
Inside me, I was bleeding. And actually, I remember one time he hit me and my lips were swollen and I was supposed to go and preach the following day. And I remember one of the members told me, you know what, Pastor, I can tell everything is not okay. And I told her, no, 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 we are doing well. So that's why I say it's a very strong spirit. And then the reason why people like myself, I wasn't living is number one is the judgment from the society.
Hmm.
I was like, what will society say? What will the church say? They will say that, okay, she tells us about God and everything, but herself, she's a failure. So that was another reason to mask. The other thing is about my children. I love them so much. I was like, now I have to die for this. If I die for my children, then well and good. It wasn't easy. I wish I knew what I know today because I couldn't handle that. If it was today, I couldn't handle that. Yeah.
Wow. So it means there's a lot going on in the church.
Yes.
To listen to you say that you yourself, you were just a walking shell.
Mm.
You could preach about how women should handle themselves
Yes. Yes.
in their homes, in their marriages,
Mm-hmm.
yet
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
were going through a lot.
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't easy at all. And today, when I look back, I'm like, God, was I a fool? Because that's what people ask me. We think you're not right. I think you are a fool or something. But
Because someone has also asked, fine,
mm,
you've now answered because you said, because of your children,
yeah,
you love them so much. But then if
mm,
you had actually died, because someone, has asked now, why didn't you leave? Especially when you realized that your
mm-hmm,
life was in danger, your
yes,
children's life were in danger,
mm-hmm,
everything around you,
mm-hmm,
you know, was in danger.
yes,
Why didn't you leave? And you stayed in, to the point where you had to sustain this lifetime injury,
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
know, to the extent that you have to spend over $60,000
mm,
to have you, put you back together to the
yeah,
beautiful that today we are beholding.
yes.
Why?
Number
I mean,
one,
children, I mean, you could,
as I said, sometimes when you see people do
I know
something,
this is a very, 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 very difficult thing. Yes.
yeah, sometimes when you see people doing some things like what I was doing, I was supposed to leave. The logic here is that I was supposed to leave. But if you understand my journey from the childhood,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can get the connection.
Yes.
I was seeking for love. And when I landed for one, it didn't last for long.
Didn't.
And
Yeah.
because I was a public figure and I'm already in it, there's no way I could disconnect with it. Yes, I could, but I think the whole thing was tied up from where I have come from.
Yeah.
The other
All
thing is
right.
about the
So,
threats that I've just said. The threats, you are like,
mhm.
okay, I will leave. And actually, I caused more harm to my children. I wish I
Yeah.
left, but I caused more harm to my children for staying. And today I regret staying. And I tell women, if you're in such environment, it's good to speak up.
Great. So,
It's good to
I
seek
mean, for
help.
me, yeah, no child should bear the burden of domestic
Mm,
abuse.
yeah, true.
No child
So very
should bear
true.
the burden of domestic abuse.
Mm,
So, I
mm,
mean, having been in this, situation and now counseling women, I
mm,
just want to ask, can
mm.
abusers or narcissists be rehabilitated? Do you think they can become, you know, like better
No,
people? No.
no, there's no way. I kept hoping that one day my husband will change, but he never changed. There is no way there's no truth that they don't buy to any truth, no matter what. Number two, they are always right. And these guys, they have two colors. There's one at home and there's one outside there. So you can't judge them. You can't accuse them. People won't believe you. Actually, that's another thing that made me not to leave or to share, because no one would believe me. This guy was so smart and good outside there, but when he comes home, he was a totally different person. Sometimes we could go outside, to meetings and all that with him. And I look at him and I'm like, I wish I can have this man at home. The man that is outside there. Yeah, so it is not easy, Nana. It's not easy at all, because you cannot correct them. You cannot change them, no matter what, not even prayers. Only God and themselves. If they discover that for those who admit that, sure, I have a problem, those one they can not to change, but they can manage.
Wow. And also, do children who witness spousal abuse become
Yes.
abusers or abused as adults? Having been in this journey, or like through this journey, do you think children who have actually witnessed spousal abuse become abusers themselves or abused as adults?
That's very true, because I remember when he's okay, he used to share with me, and he used to tell me he saw his parents fight like every day. And he hated especially the mother, because I think the mother was the narcissist, and they used to fight a lot with the dad. So I think in that case, he hated women, including the one he married. And I always tell parents that we should be very careful, because our children will not only inherit our possessions and all that, they will also inherit our character if we are not careful. And that which we can't overcome today, it will wait our children out there if we don't pray for them and ask God for the deliverance.
Oh, wow. Because what I was just about to ask you is, do you think, people who abuse other people, do you think it's genetic or environmental?
It is genetic. Every narcissist, if you dig back to their background, you will tell that there was a pattern somewhere that is being transferred to this next generation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pattern. It's a pattern. And that's why, as Christians, we need to pray, because if you read in the book of 2 Timothy, is it chapter 3 from verse 1 to around 6, 7 there, you'll find these things were mentioned in the Bible. That these narcissist people, they will be there. They will be lovers of themselves. They'll be lovers of money. They will be selfish and all that. It is mentioned in the Bible. So as Christians, we have to be very careful. Okay, no one is perfect, but we can always aim for perfection, because I know there are narcissists who are listening to us also. Let's be very careful of how we live our lives, because we will not only affect ourselves, but even our generations to come.
Now,
I suffered because of what was transferred to my husband. Yeah.
Okay. So now let us talk about your surgery.
Yeah.
You've now, been battered several times. Your head has been smashed against the wall several times. So now your nerves, have been compressed.
Yeah.
Before I ask, because there's another question also pending that I would, just later on, just read it out to you. This is to do with your surgery. What were your thoughts or feelings when you woke up? From your surgery?
As you can see, the video that we just posted, that was.
If the technical team can just put the video with no sound, so that we, you'll be able to talk.
Stay with God. In spite of what you see or feel. Stay with God. In spite of how things may.
Okay, so what were your thoughts or feelings when you woke up from your surgery?
The worst feeling I had is to see the first person who came in that room after recovery, after the waiting room, after surgery, is my son. My son who witnessed when that thing happened. I felt so bad. I woke up and I started crying. I said, what have I taken my son through? I felt so bad. I really felt it. I really felt it. I was like, this is the 5-year-old boy who stood right at the door. And then he's here to witness the process. I felt so bad. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I have cried. I've done everything. When I saw the video, when I saw the pictures, to be honest, I wish I could see that man that now I'm even expressing how the rage in me and everything.
Yeah.
And it's okay for you to show emotions because
Yeah.
it's your journey, it's your story.
Yeah.
And so you are allowed to own it and share it the way that you want it. So for me, it's okay.
To be honest, that I forgot about the pain. I forgot about the process. And all what I was thinking about is my son. Because he's the one who took me there. He said, Mom, I won't allow anyone to be your support throughout this surgery. So I went with him. Actually, even the videos and everything, he's the one who took that and made that video. He's the one who did all that.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, God bless you. I mean, continue to share Mom's story. I know this is, this interview will be on Mom's, timeline. Make sure you share this and let this go far to embolden women, not just, women and, young girls actually coming up.
Yeah.
And also to make sure that the church will become more alert. We don't overlook certain characteristics, certain things that we see in church, especially when we see certain women so, withdrawn, so quiet, so confused. Let us reach out to such women. They might be going through certain things that they might find it so difficult to talk, or they might not even trust anybody to share what they're going through. But instead of judging them, let us get closer.
True.
And then when they share their stories, let us exercise due confidentiality, due care to such people. Because once they smell that their stories are out there, that'll be the end. They will not even talk at all. And then the end product will be either suicide or they might even, being, in the relationship and, God knows.
Yeah, mentioning about the church, that's another thing that church is failing.
Yeah.
The judgment outside there is way too much.
Yeah.
As a divorcee, you don't have a name. As a divorcee, you don't have a place in church. As a divorcee, no one respects you,
Yeah.
I know God hates divorce, but God is not happy when his children are suffering. And so I was like, so if I divorce, what will people say? But if I was there,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the reason. And actually, okay, as I said, maybe because of our time, I don't know if I'll have time to say this, so allow me to mention that God is very concerned about us. No matter our foolishness, no matter what we go through. God knew very well that I will never leave that marriage. He saw that I wasn't ready. And so, as I said, 2006, he started ailing. And actually, he became more bitter when he realized that he's sick. And then after 3 years, he was diagnosed with cancer. And then around 3 years after, he died. I couldn't understand that time, but today I know why God had to remove him.
I mean, for me, that kind of heart, even to look after him.
Yeah.
Somebody who constantly abuses you or abuses you, to nurse
Yes.
someone that
Mm.
has never made you happy, even not for a minute.
Yeah.
Life of your life, nothing at all. And
Mm.
you are looking after such a person.
Yeah.
How is the feeling, or how was the feeling, like at that time? Because I don't know how you did it, but I don't want to talk about Vicky because I
Funny
don't
enough,
think I'll be able to do it.
because he got sick for about from 2006 and he died in 2016. So those are like 10 years.
Wow.
I was taking care of him, yet he was still violent. When he got sick, because he was hospitalized for a whole year, I took care of him to the last minute.
God bless you.
I washed him. He had so many wounds on the legs, and diabetic wounds, they don't heal.
Yeah.
Maggots were running all over the sheets, maggots. He died while speaking. He used to call me and he tells me, you see, I'm not there. I'm dead. It's only my spirit that is remaining. Maggots all over. They're coming all over.
Wow.
I nursed him. I washed him. I took care of him to the last minute. Yes, I did that.
Yours is the proper till death do us part. Bless you. Bless you, Pastor Jane. I've got more questions online from Laya. She goes, did the hospital she went to tried to help her or refused?
The hospital in India?
No. I think for the first one that you went to in Kenya.
That doctor was so angry because I had to explain what happened, and he told me we need to take a P3. In Kenya we call it P3. I don't know here. We need to sue this guy, and I told him if I sue him, what about my children? I was always worried about my children.
So you've been the dutiful wife, that obedient wife, even at the time that your life was in danger.
Yes.
Pastor
I
Jane,
never took him to authorities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think she also wants to ask again.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask again if the hospitals Pastor Jane went to try to help and she refused because she was afraid.
Yes, I was afraid, very afraid, because I was like, okay, we'll take him to authorities and he will come out. What will happen to me again? They instill a lot of fear that you can't do anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone has actually commended you, says Pastor Jane has a very, big heart to take care of her abuser. Wow.
Yes, I did.
At this point, it's like I'm speechless. I think just pardon me, because I'm just trying to bring everything together.
I know.
Honestly, it's such too much.
It was too much.
And to me,
today I feel like I'm a different person, because after surgery, my eyes were open and I was like, where was I living? Why did I do that? I was like, probably there's a reason, because of someone out there that God needs to deliver. And I said, whatever happens to us happens for a reason. Today, my kids are delivered. My son is now okay. He's in Australia. My daughter she'll be joining university in January next year. We are happy family, totally delivered. We are free. We are blessed, and I thank God. But for sure, let me just say this. I pray that no woman or man should go through what I went through.
Wow.
I pray. Yeah.
So, I mean, now listening, to your story, especially your background where you lost both parents, as a child, and also having been abused by your own grandmother, and also having married a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've lost your husband with 2 children.
Yeah.
You are now having to empower other
Mm-hmm.
women,
Mm-hmm.
making them feel
Yeah.
better about themselves.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you tonight, do you think you have discovered yourself?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And
Yes, I have.
you have discovered yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
I had to take some measures to be where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized once you deal with a narcissist, you will always attract another one if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not careful, you'll keep on doing the same cycle. So what I did, number one, I decided to set my boundaries.
Okay.
First, I loved myself. I decided I will love myself because I think I hated myself. I had lost hope and purpose in my life and everything. So first, I decided I'm going to love myself. Number two, I decided I'm going to set the boundaries. And I decided I will take time. I don't want to date. I don't want to do anything until I'm sure that I'm healed completely.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that helped me. Number two, I decided to develop a very solid self-confidence because I had lost my confidence completely.
Yeah.
My esteem was very low.
Mm.
So I decided and I had to sort counseling.
Great.
After counseling, I decided now I'm going to develop self-confidence. And let me tell you, to be honest, that's when I came to know myself.
Fantastic.
That's when I came to realize my potential.
Great.
I decided to start all over again. Actually, I even shelved the ministry. I decided now I'm working on myself.
Mm.
I had 4 churches. I decided this one, I called my bishop and I told him, you need to send people to these churches because I want first to start all over again. The other thing I decided is to learn my personal values because each and every human beings are valuable.
Yeah.
Very valuable. I came to realize I'm very valuable and I decided I'm going to work on the values that I have.
Mm.
And that has really, really helped me. And so because we are human beings, you'll find people who want to marry you, they want to engage with you and all that. I said, God, please help me never to miss out a red flag.
Mm.
Not that I'm oversensitive, but I'm very sensitive. Very sensitive. Please, women, those who are listening to me, never miss out to spot a red flag. That's what I did from the word go. I wasn't careful at all. And of course, I didn't know about these things. And the other thing is that I decided I will never allow anyone to control me.
I like that one.
So long as I'm on the right path,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what I'm doing is good, I will never allow anyone to control my behaviors, to control how I talk, to control how I speak. Because he used to tell me, the way you preached today. And then he decided even to leave my church. And he went to a nearby church, a neighbor's church. He said, you don't know how to preach. What do you tell people? Look how you dress and all that. Today, so long as I dress modesty and I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm walking in holiness and in righteousness, the rest, what you think about me, doesn't matter.
I just love you, Pastor Jane.
Amen.
Do you know what? Today I didn't want to sound too. I didn't want to come, bombarding, our church and everything because we have a lot of things going on, especially where women are being especially when they, complain, or when
Mhm.
they want to, confide in, especially church leaders,
Yes.
about what's going on in the, like, in their homes.
Mhm.
Most of these pastors
Mhm.
fail to listen to the women
That's true. Yeah.
correctly,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they are so quick to
To
send
judge.
them away.
Mhm.
Go back and submit to your husband.
True.
Go back and submit. Go back and submit.
Yes.
In your case,
Mhm.
you were a pastor yourself,
Mhm.
and you are still are.
Yeah.
I just, that submission thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Can you break it down?
Mhm.
To us? Because I think that is where the confusion
Yes.
is. Everybody submit.
Mhm.
So even
Mhm.
when women are dying, even when some men are dying, they
Mhm.
would have to go back and submit. So maybe educate maybe the young girls coming,
Mhm.
or even maybe the older women. What's the
Yes.
submission thing is all about?
Mhm.
Especially you being a pastor yourself, if you
Yes.
can
Yes.
actually break it down so that we can have some clarity on this one,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's true. The Bible says that men love your wives and women should submit to their husbands.
Yeah,
But
sure.
in this case, and that's what I always tell women, sometimes you rebel with a cause. And I'll give a story to that. I remember the last time so that my husband, when he became now very sick and he couldn't now come out from the hospital. I remember one time he came at home and I think I had had enough. And I said, today you are not going to beat me. And I had never told him that for years. So he came home and he wanted to beat me. And I told him, you know what, Daddy, today you are not beating me. Today you are not going to beat me. And he became so furious. And when he tried like to push me, I ran out of the house. Of course, I didn't go far. But he couldn't believe it. And that time I remember that night he puked because he was still very sick. Imagine, he's sick, but he's still fighting. And the following day, I took him to the hospital and he never came out of that ward. You know, the minute you discover yourself, sometimes there are things that you rebel, not because it's a bad thing to do, but you know your cause. Submission is a cause, and so you have to know your cause. You have to know the boundaries. It's through my submission that I went through all that I went through, and I got my kids to where they were. So the wisdom requires, in marriage, you require a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, and also understanding. You need to know your position, where to submit and where to say no. Because as a Christian, even the Bible tells us that let your no be no and let your yes be yes. And what you said, we tend to tell our members or our friends or whoever comes for counseling that go and submit. You need to dig the root cause of why someone is opening up to you. Let me tell you, and I'm sorry to say this, most of the marriages we have today, they were not meant to be.
Oh, that's a bombshell.
Yes, they were not meant to be. But because we got ourselves there, there's nothing you can do. But some were not meant to be. Mine was not meant to be. If it was meant to be, I am sure my husband would be alive today. So some of the things, and especially to the young girls, because I like also talking to the young girls, you need to take your time. You need to take time to develop yourself because you engage with someone else who will come with their values, with their opinions and everything. Before you engage to that, know yourself first.
Know yourself first.
Yes, know yourself. I didn't know myself. And then the other thing is about women. We men, we display ourselves with a lot of desperation. You want to get married, you must have this, you must have that. Be contented with where you are. That's me today. That's me today. Be contented with what you have, where you are and with whom you are. Don't compete. Forget about the world.
Mm.
Listen to yourself. Listen to this person is very important. And you cannot compare yourself with anyone else. You're unique in your own way. The way God created you. No one can take what I went through. I know majority, even you, Nana. You can't.
No, no, no. No, I'm being honest. Honestly,
But you are unique in your own way. That's how God created you. And so I came to learn that this type of a person, we call them what? Empathetic personality. That's me. And these people, they are very dangerous. They give out, they do what? They don't value themselves. They sacrifice a lot for others.
Mm.
They deny themselves. So you have to know yourself. You know your boundaries. No, I know I'm this type, but this is how I should take myself. Not to learn to the same problem again.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what would you tell women?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say stay-home moms because it's a very, very dicey topic to talk about. But women who think their source of livelihood or everything should depend on a man.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, they go through some of these things that you went through. What
Yes.
kind of advice? Because you were talking about being self-assertive, knowing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
knowing your boundaries, loving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
all these things that now you know.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice do you give to such women?
At first, I'll still repeat that: be contented with what you have and what you are. The other thing I want to assure you that marriage does not come through, happiness does not come through marriage.
Oh, another one. Wow.
Because people think that when I get married today, now I'll be happy. No, that's not the case. I wasn't happy for all those years in my marriage.
Wow. So as a pastor leading your flock,
Mm-hmm.
telling them how to handle themselves in their marriages, in their homes, in their um, daily lives or endeavors,
Mm-hmm.
you were going through the opposite.
Yes, I was going through the opposite. And I thought that that's a way of submitting, but it wasn't. I was
Now,
feeding the demon in my house, But what I can tell people, the first thing I said is that, okay, if you're married already, there's nothing much you can do. But if you are in an abusive marriage, please, marriage won't take you to heaven. I'm not encouraging divorce, but marriage won't take you to heaven. You can't die to go to heaven in a marriage. No.
and this is coming from a pastor, women
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
I quite remember when I wanted to start, this program. I think I had, actually attended a program that we were talking about some of the things that single women go through. And as a result, most of them, we have a lot of women entangled. Some of them because of societal pressure,
Yes.
what the church will say, how the church will perceive of them. Some of them just still stay in there. I got the massive backlash that I've ever faced, actually openly. But I am glad today that today I'm being, I'll say, exonerated, because there are there are so much going on in the church that we don't want to talk about it.
Yes. Yes.
We don't want to open that lid because we think once we open that lid,
Yes.
all the worms in that lid will just come out. But
Yes.
I'm so happy that you yourself, you're a pastor, and you went through, and You are so brave now to share
Yes.
your story.
Mhm. Mhm.
God richly bless you.
Amen.
God richly bless you for the amazing
Amen.
work that you're doing with your story, with your
Amen.
foundations, with everything that
Mhm.
that you're
Mhm.
doing, with your
Yeah.
life.
Mm.
And before we end, I just want to ask you,
Yes. Yes.
were you able to forgive your husband
Mhm.
before he died? Were you able to forgive him?
Yes, I did. I did, and I actually told him. I told him, you know what? Because okay, himself he couldn't say sorry. And I told him, I know in your heart you are regretting of what you did to me.
Mm.
But I want to tell you that I forgive you. And actually, when I told him that, 2 days after he died,
Wow.
2 days after he died. And all what I can tell women out there is that not marriage is bad. Everyone want to be loved.
Mm.
And marriage is beautiful. There are marriages that are working so well, and you can tell this is a good family. But I will repeat again, be contented. Don't rush into things. And when you get someone, please take your time. Don't rush into the relationship, and also ask God, is it your will?
Ooh.
Is it your will? Because sometimes we are led by our emotions and lusts, not love. You might think it's love, and that's why we have so many women who are desperate, disappointed. Some have engaged into gazing because they think there's no good man out there. They are there. Me, what I believe is that they are there, even though I'm still single, but I believe there are good marriages there, out there.
God bless you for
There are
saying.
people who are enjoying life. I have so many friends who are couples and they are doing very well.
Mm.
But don't kill yourself in the name of marriage. That's what I always tell people.
Wow.
It took me through the grace of God to be able to adapt, seeing my son. I will mention this, so I wanted. I didn't plan to say this. Seeing my son doing drugs because of what he saw my husband do to me. I went through hell on earth, but I thank God today he's delivered. I watched my daughter harm herself, doing self-harming. She was bleeding all over. Was that worth it? No. That's what I'm saying. Some marriages were not meant to be. And I'm sorry to say that, and I'm not, I think I should not be apologetic. They were not meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I preached in one church and I said on the altar that if this is what is happening in your marriage, you should quit. At least separate. Give him space. Don't be there. And until God says so, don't go back there. And
Wow.
don't create a voice, because sometimes we say, God said that I should. No, sometimes it is not God. It is your thoughts, not God. And then because of some people go to engage in wrong hands because they are lonely. Loneliness is created.
Yeah.
We create our own loneliness. When you think and you feel like you're lonely and you can't do without a man, then that is it. That's what happens in you.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you've talked about this loneliness.
Yes.
I've listened to a lot of women
Mm-hmm.
going through abuse, and then when you ask them,
Mm-hmm.
why are you still in this marriage or relationship?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that they will tell you is,
Yeah.
I'm scared to live alone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be alone.
That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and know that you are where God wanted you to be at this time. And if he wants to change your life, he will for sure. His promises are yes and amen. Allow God to give you that which you need, but not that what you want.
But wow,
Yeah.
what you need and not what you want.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Sometimes we go for what we want, but that's not what we need.
Mm. Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm so humbled by your story.
Mm-hmm.
And God richly bless you for, I mean, who am I to have you on my platform, to enlighten a lot of people out there. But I believe the story is meant for somebody at this time.
Yeah, true.
At this time.
Amen.
And I just want to thank, Pastor Naomi and also Pastor Grace for hosting you,
Yes.
and also for introducing you to me to share your story. Thank them so much. And also to all the people in Kenya. You have your star here in England on the inside view with Nana sharing her story. Before we enter tonight's discussion, I know, I have a lot of questions I wanted to ask, but I think you've said so much. You've said a lot.
Yeah.
So anyone online, please share this discussion, this conversation. This is not even an interview, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Share this conversation. Let us save women. Let us save men. Let us save our young girls. We've heard it from Pastor Jane herself. She herself is a minister of God. And she has gone through abuse. She's talking about the mask that people put on. The front that people put, on. Not all that glitters is gold. She's actually given us a few pointers on what to actually watch out for, trying to help women. The things that we can actually, look out for, just to spot certain behaviors or characteristics that can help us, reach out to such men or such women. And also, she's actually talked about how women, we should also carry ourselves. Know who you are, establish your boundaries, assert yourself, be bold, have something to do, work, find a work to do, be economically sound, be economically, sufficient yourself, and also being able to contribute something. Also be in a position to look after yourself and also your children. It's so important. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. But above all, know who you are and whose you are. And then to the parents out there, let us show our children love. Because you could tell that Pastor Jane came from that background where, one, there was no father, there was no mother. She had lost her identity right from her childhood. She didn't even know who she was. And then, fortunately or unfortunately, she lived with a grandparent or like a grandmother who also treated her based on what she knew. So we cannot blame her. And then she went ahead to also marry a narcissist. So you could tell the pain that she's been throughout her life. We should, actually learn to love our children. Show them love. Show them compassion. And also to our parents, when our daughters come home with stories, please don't push them back. Don't. Because many a times, these women go and never come back. So please, when they come reporting how abusive their husbands are, don't please push them back because of the dowry that maybe they've actually paid, or based on what maybe society will say. Don't think about yourself. Don't be selfish enough, just because maybe your friends or maybe your family might think maybe you didn't raise up your child or whatever well. So please listen to them. Listen to them. Can I tell you what my father said? I quite remember, I think during my engagement period, my father just said, Nana, the first time that your husband lays his hand on you, come home. Don't stay. Come home.
I wish I
Have you
had
back.
such a parent.
I'll have you back.
Mm.
My father, right from day one, gave me that assurance, gave me that backing. That when any form of abuse, don't hesitate. Come back home. No matter what, yes, we will have you back home. And that is what we should be able to, tell our children. I'm not saying that, like with the slightest thing, no. I'm talking about abuse, physical abuse. Let us give that kind of rock, the backing to our children to save lives. Because otherwise, it becomes a cycle. Pastor Jane, is now sharing how her own children, self-harm, drug abuse, and everything. And it's not good news. I've got more comments coming in. I've got Virginia Mumbai, okay, saying, Jane Nganga, thanks for your testimony. I will pray God to help you to forgive somebody, son, cause only my goodness is hard for me. And I've got Jennifer also saying, what's no one, oh gosh, I'm trying, but non-negotiable attribute. Okay, can the woman of God advise young women to look out for in a person before marriage? I think she wants to know what are some of the things that, young girls, should actually look out for before marriage.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that they should,
Number one, we talk about God-fearing character. Someone who respects God, although I was married by one who claimed to respect God, but they weren't. Be sure of what he confesses. Be sure of his firm foundation, of the foundation that he has. Is it firm foundation? Number two, you need to look out for a person, someone who respects himself, because someone who doesn't appreciate himself, someone who doesn't know his values, he cannot value you. Someone who doesn't respect himself, he cannot respect you. The other thing is about controlling spirit. That's the worst. If you engage with someone who is controlling, you'll never have peace whatsoever. Doesn't matter the life he has given you, you will never know what it means to have peace. Because you will never have your own space, not even to serve God. The other thing is that our young girls are going for money. It is not money that makes marriage. It is two individuals that has sacrificed and are committed to each other. So if a person is there for what you can offer, then he doesn't value you.
Wow.
If it is a person who comes to you because of what you have, that person, be it be a lady or a man, he doesn't value you. He loves what you have, not you. So watch out and be very careful. As you court or you date, court cautiously. Don't rush into things. Take your time. Love is not everything. It is not love that keeps the marriage. It is the commitment that two individuals have for each other. So take your time. Take your time to listen to what you are feeling. You never know. It might not be love. So I think that's enough points for now.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
In your final words before, we end, tonight's discussion. I know we've taken so much of your time. So,
Yeah.
anything they just want to, it could be a prayer or anything that you want to, say to single women out there, to the widows, to the widowers, anything. Before you go back to Kenya,
Yeah.
anything, yes.
Okay, what I can say is that I know there are so many, maybe they are single because of what I went through. Maybe they had go through the same experience, and that's why they are single. There's a reason why you are single today. You might be widowed, you might be divorced, you might be maybe never married because you never got your suit, maybe someone that you feel like now this is the person. And you feel frustrated because now, especially if you have never been married, you feel like you're worthless. You have no purpose on earth. Marriage is not purpose.
Marriage is not
Purpose is what
Wow.
God created you to be. So I want you to take your time, pray to God, and believe Him because He's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all. He has good plans for you, plans to give you hope and a future, according to Jeremiah 29, verse 11. And the other thing I'll tell the church, because I won't forget that part, please respect single men and single women. They are not a threat. It's you who feel that. Not all of them are threats. I'm saying that because I've experienced a lot, Madam Nana. I've experienced a lot with married women. Anytime they see me, they see threats. I'm not a threat to anyone. Know how to handle yourself, single woman, single man. If there is something that God treasures in a woman or in a man, is this temple. We are His holy temple. I decided never to defile myself. God is my witness. No matter the beauty I have, because I know I'm beautiful. I
Oh,
know,
yes, you are.
and I
Of course
confess
you
that.
are.
Baby, I'm not beautiful. But I don't allow my beauty to fool me and to be careless. No, I decided, God, if it is your will for me to ever get married again, well and good. If it is not within your plan, I'm still contented. So please respect yourself, respect your boundaries as a single person, woman or man. Respect your boundaries. Wait upon the Lord. He is faithful. He's faithful. He never lies. Don't allow the triggers to fool you. You are delivered. Because triggers will be there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll find someone who knows your past and they want to intimidate you. Please don't lower your standard because of what they said or what they think about you. Walk with your head held high. You're very important in the eyes of God. Nothing else matters.
Wow.
Love yourself.
Thank you.
You are a treasure in the hands of the Most High God. Get ready to be used of God. Serve Him. Seek His kingdom, because that's what the Bible says. Seek ye His kingdom first and His righteousness. And all these other things shall be added. Don't be in a hurry. God cares. God knows you better than you know yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you. I mean,
Lastly, let your yes be yes and let
yes.
your no be no.
The love that you have, the heart that you have, the patience that you have. I just pray, and also the bravery that you have to want to forgive your husband, to discover yourself, to love yourself, to have boundaries for yourself, and also to live a purposeful life, a life meant to encourage people to speak up, that alone, it's enough for, I don't know, but I'm speechless. I mean, I'm so emotional, but I'm just trying to
I know.
thank, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so, so, so much. Viewers, just pardon me.
As well.
Thank you, Pastor Jane. Thank you. Thank you. And to every woman out there that is going through any form of abuse, don't let what society will say about you push you into your early grave. We have a soul here that God, preserved or has preserved just to save lives. I'm trying because I'm so, I don't know, full of emotions, and I'm just trying to contain myself. Pastor Jane, God bless you. God bless you. And tonight I know a lot of women will be delivered. And now to the single women out there, don't let anybody judge you, because you know what you've been through. You know your story. You know your journey. Be yourself. Love yourself. Accept yourself. And rediscover yourself. In fact, know yourself. And anyone going through abuse, staying because of their children, please, we are even doing more damage to our children than we even think. If you have to leave, please leave quickly before you lose your children in the process. Not every child or not every mother can have their children delivered. And even sometimes by the time they realize it, their children are even already, out of control. Tonight, this is a real life story. A real life story. It's not something that I have made up. This is coming from a living testimony. Who we are, who we are all witnessing here. Thank you. All the way from Kenya, thank you. And we just want to wish you safe journey, when you go back home. Thank you. And to all the women here, especially the church folks, please, we've seen a pastor, a leader, sharing her own story. So this time, we don't have any excuse. We don't have any excuse to hide behind, go and submit. Go and submit. No. Thank you. Thank you. And to all my viewers that have stayed until now, I just want to thank you so much for your company. Thank you for all your questions, your comments. I can't thank you enough. I've seen Gracious Grace. I've seen Mariam Foster. I've seen Naya Music. I've seen Jennifer. I've seen a lot. Gracious Grace says, may the Lord give you more grace to forgive. It's not easy. Yes, exactly, Gracious Grace. Exactly, Pastor. It's not easy to forgive. Thank you. For everyone that's sent in their questions, their comments, and your support. Thank you. Anyone that shared this link, please continue to share. and let's stamp this evil out of our society. If I show you the statistics, the amount of money that the UK government has set aside for domestic abuse, you'll be shocked. Just to protect women, children, and everything. This is here. What about those in living in countries where they can make such budget to cater for such people? So let us continue to speak up. Let us continue to speak against this menace. Let us continue to say enough is enough. Women, speak out. Women, live and live. Thank you tonight. Good night, everyone. Thank you.